Guys, welcome to The Pulse. And this is actually a special edition. I wanted to see if we could cook during this episode, but I don't think we can do that. But instead, we brought in celebrity chef, entrepreneur, doing charity and philanthropic work, and just a good dude, Chef Jose Garces. Yeah, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So we had a plan, and we didn't think we could make this work. We were trying to figure out, with all the shows you've done and all the creativity of all your restaurants, if we brought in an easy bake oven and set it up. And then there's a cafe around the corner, and we were going to get like Raisin Bran and butterscotch crimpets and Sour Patch Kids and sparkling water. And say,
Got it.
Like, okay, Mr. Iron Chef.
Those are the ingredients.
Yeah.
Those are the ingredients. Yeah. I mean, I think I got something.
You probably could.
Yeah, I would make maybe a take on granola, kind of grind up the Raisin Bran, make it, and then get it crunchy. Add some of the.
Like, I'm joking, but how does your mind work to figure that kind of thing out? Like, I talk to you all the time when I see you about how that show always makes me go, what?
Yeah, well, it's funny with competitive cooking, and recently I've been on a show called Tournament of Champions on Food Network, and that show, unlike Iron Chef, which I was an Iron Chef for 5 years, with Iron Chef I was able to kind of had a team. I wasn't on my own. I had some like preparation that I could do beforehand, kind of knowing it was going to be a secret ingredient. Tournament of Champions is a totally different animal altogether. It's really it's Guy Fieri. He has a randomizer. He spins it. There's 5 categories: proteins, vegetables, cooking style, time, and some other wild card that he'll throw in there. And it's a real 5-minute prep to make something delicious, to make a winnable dish. So I've been in the cooking competition mode recently, and so your mind starts getting there.
And I see that, and I hear you describing the Tournament of Champions. That doesn't sound fun. Like, that sounds now obviously I can't really cook, but that sounds like a lot of opportunity to not do well, and a huge challenge to create this great dish.
Yeah, I find it to be, I've been a competitive chef just for a long time, but in the competitive cooking arena. And I find it's the most exhilarating thing that I do, as it relates to my career. So because it pushes several boundaries: creativity, flavor building, cooking under pressure, cameras, fog, audience, all that. And while it may sound kind of, overwhelming, I tell you what, at the end of it, there's just a sense of satisfaction that I get from it. And listen, I don't always win. I wish I did, but sometimes you lose, and that's also a tough pill to swallow. But I think it teaches you some humility. It teaches you kind of basically, hey, it's a competitive world out there, and so I don't know. There are a lot of lessons for me in the action.
I feel like most of us watching, you could give us chicken and lettuce and potatoes, and we would go, what to do? And you're coming up with all these things. Walk us back. When did this start? When did you get into the whole concept? Was it a really young age? When did you know you had this cooking bug?
I went to cooking school as a vocation, as a trade, because I'd realized that academia wasn't really for me. I really didn't have a passion for anything at the moment. I was, I had said, hey, I really have to get a job and start earning. And so I was early. I was probably 20 or so. Walked into school, Kendall College in Chicago, and realized that the discipline, kind of the white jackets, the crisp white hats, kind of the brigade style was something for me. So guardrails and kind of putting a lot of things in perspective. And so I got to school, and again, just wanting to learn a trade. I started competing already with classmates and whatnot, and all of a sudden I'm discovering, hey, I have a talent and I have a passion for creating and cooking, and that happened right away. My mom and my grandma were great cooks. I cooked with them growing up, but I was more of an eater, less of a cook. So so yeah, it was truly a discovery that again, to this day, I still feel like super fortunate about that moment because it's a passion.
A lot of people we have on the Pulse, like comedians, go, man, when I was 5, I had the whole class going, you know, they're born with it or developed it over all these years. You really had to find it. It was there, but you had to discover it.
No one in my family was in the restaurant or hospitality business. So there was no real big influences at the time. So yeah, it was found out of necessity, and I think that's also kind of neat. You know, if you kind of sometimes you find yourself, you know, your kind of back is up against the wall and you have to like do. And so yeah, it really again was I feel so fortunate to have found that.
Yeah, it's inspiring to people watching. I guess it's inspiring to me. Like I needed a job. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really.
What happened.
Well, I was, you know, I'd gone to a few years of undergrad, and I just was really at this moment. And I'm sure, you know, I have teenage kids. I have my daughters in college too, and I'm like guiding them right now. Like, hey guys, let's stay on track. Let's keep our career paths going. Because at that time, really, I didn't have a lot of guidance. I didn't have a lot of like mentors, and so it was really up to me, you know, to kind of make ends meet and get on. I remember thinking, well, you know what, I just need to like pick up a skill, really get a trade. And I think nowadays it's interesting that that's still very relevant in our current society. We need great plumbers, great electricians, we need great carpenters. We still need those trades, folks, to like keep doing, because otherwise, you know, yeah, things won't get built or things won't get done. And I do think there is, and again, just speaking of the trades, there's like a negative perception around it, and I don't know why, because it is, you know, those folks still earn a good living, they have a good quality of life, and I just hope that maybe over time those stigmas kind of go away, and really our youth kind of embrace that vocational trades that are out there.
Next up, what happens when you challenge an Iron Chef to make a Philly staple?
I'm making a Wagyu ribeye cheesesteak with caramelized onions, truffle provolone fondue, an amazing bun, and I'm like, all right, here we go, guys. Boom.
So walk me through, you discover this passion.
Yeah.
Right? This is what I want to do. I found my love,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you get, like, I'd imagine you start getting jobs.
I decided to go cook in Spain for about a year. I went to New York for about 5 years and really was in, I think, you know, during that time, like some of the best chefs in the world were cooking in New York. So I got to like experience that. And then eventually made my way to Philadelphia in 2000 as an opportunity after being in the field about like, you know, 5 to 7 years. And, you know, I think that was, and that, you know, for young chefs or young culinarians, you know, that like are watching TV and seeing kind of everything being glamorized, I think you have to put the time in.
How many restaurants is it?
So we're a handful here in Philadelphia. So
that's how you know you got a lot of restaurants. It's like, how many? A handful. You got a bunch of them.
A good amount, and you know they're each special. Each restaurant, you know, again, as you open these and you kind of embrace them, you get this emotional attachment to all of our spots, and we're proud of all of them. But here in Philly, we've got the Old Bar, Amata, Volver. We have Buena Onda, Village Whiskey, and we recently opened a new Amata in Radnor.
I'm laughing when like 8 restaurants we're going to just keep it small. We're going to focus and move in. But compared to 20, you know,
yeah,
there have been periods of time where it was like 20.
Well, we had a bunch where you know, I licensed my name, created concepts, and that's a whole other part of the business that I think not everyone like is clear on. You know, as a celebrity chef, as someone who's creative, sometimes you're sought out to create concepts and create concepts, create menus, and public facing. Nobody knows if I own it or somebody like it. You know, the back end is what it is, and so. with that, you know, it's been great. A lot of opportunity to travel and move around. And we had restaurants in Palm Springs and in Scottsdale, Arizona, and Chicago. But like in the past few years, it's been like, okay, let's really like hone in and get focused. And so yeah, we're excited about Buena Onda, fast casual taqueria. We launched it in 2016, have 5 stores, recently franchised it. And that was a goal, as a bucket list for me in kind of our industry. I want to create a franchise.
One of the things you just said that was interesting to me, because we have a lot of, like, patting ourselves on the back, we have a lot of celebrities that come through the Pulse. And when you talked about that concept of celebrity chef,
Yeah.
you know, it's another opportunity for people who, like yourself, loved to cook and didn't always understand all of the additional opportunities that come with it. When did that become a thing?
I use the term very loosely. Like, I don't ever consider myself a celebrity, me personally. I consider myself a cook, a dad, a husband, you know, just kind of, you know, a guy who wants to mentor young chefs. And, you know, and it's always been, for me, that's kept me grounded. And so, because I think a lot of times, you know, the term celebrity chef or celebrity, it ends up inflating folks. And so I've always been very cognizant of that. When did like, let's say, like that sphere aura happen for me? I would say in 2007, so kind of we're dating back to Amada. We opened in 2005. We started to get some good kind of accolades and recognition around the restaurant. Personally as well, I was nominated for a James Beard Award that year. And you know, Food Network called and they said, "Hey, can you interview for a season of Next Iron Chef?" So they were trying to recruit another Iron Chef, a competition to become an Iron Chef. I didn't make that cast. Michael Simon won that year, but they invited me to come cook on Iron Chef against Chef Flay. Okay. So Battle Melon 2007. I had Chad Williams was one of my sous chefs. Tim Spinner.
That's my cousin.
Yeah. And congratulations to Chad on a great year, a great accolade. He won James Beard Best Restaurant, which is an amazing accolade, a great thing for Philly and wonderful for Chad. But that year we beat Bobby Flay in 2007, and that was great. You know, kind of, you know, more like national. It became a little more national. And then in 2009, I competed for the second season of Next Iron Chef. I competed against 10 other chefs, won that competition, and became an Iron Chef.
So the cooking is what you loved. The competition is what you loved. Now, with all of this and the celebrity chef, and you said don't call yourself a celebrity, but you're on more TV shows than a lot of celebrities. So the celebrity chef kind of situation, does it take away from your ability to just love the cooking? You know, or does it enhance it? 'Cause now you got a lot more things to do.
It's awarded me a lot of great opportunity to continue to do what I love to do. And that's the thing that I've really, I appreciate and embrace, because, and I'll give you just for an example, Bill. Mm-hmm. So we have, at Wells Fargo, at the stadium here, where the Sixers and Flyers play, we have a stand called Garces Eats. Right, and I was challenged to say, hey, they were like, hey, we're gonna give you the stand, Jose, but we want you to rotate the menu and we want you to create elevated stadium food. And I was like, I'm the perfect guy for that.
Time limit? I gotta use like Sour Patch Kids?
Yeah,
I can do this on my own.
Yeah. So on just a few days ago, I was in there like creating you know, and they said, hey, we really want a great cheesesteak. Perfect. I'm making a Wagyu ribeye cheesesteak with caramelized onions, truffle provolone fondue, an amazing bun. And I'm like, all right, here we go, guys. Boom. This is such a privilege to be able to, like, you know, ask for the best ingredients, make the best thing that I could possibly do in this category, and have fun with it and mentor some chefs along the way. And so, yeah, Bill, honestly, I feel I got to pinch myself most days that I'm here, I'm doing it in the way I want to do it.
Coming up, someone helped him on his journey, and because of that, he's committed to helping others.
In our industry, it happens. There's a lot of folks that are here. They need a moment. For me, there were a lot of, you know, fortunate moments.
You've said mentor a couple different times. You mentioned Chad Williams. I said my cousin who just won a James Beard Award. You won a James Beard Award. What does it kind of feel like with that mentoring being so important to you that now, and you're still young in this game.
Yeah.
No, now you're seeing people who you helped train who are kind of achieving that level of success.
And that's the best part of it. When you see the folks that have, come through our ranks and have, been, under my tutelage or cooked for us, and they have this success. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than that. There's a lot of folks that are here. They need a moment. You need that moment. You need that break in order to get ahead. For me, there were a lot of, fortunate moments, whether it was being asked to audition for Iron Chef or, walking down Chestnut Street and finding my first restaurant. It was there. A chef friend of mine was kind of like done with the space and was like, hey, we want to come look at it. And just very, very fortuitous. So yeah, that's, I think in life, that's part of it too.
Couple more things to touch on. President's Council on Sports. So now presidents are inviting you to participate in these types of things. What's that?
Yeah. So I'm super proud of this distinction. It's every administration, going back to the Eisenhower administration, has nominated and created their own council on sports, fitness, and nutrition. Okay. So I was nominated by the Biden administration with, quite a few other very established folks nationally to help, spread the word about sports, fitness, and nutrition. And so this past June, I was sworn in to the council with, other folks like Steph Curry, Ryan.
No big deal.
Yeah. Ryan Howard, Tamika Catchings on the athletic side, along with a lot of other really prominent, I would say, forward-thinking people in these categories: sports, health, fitness, and nutrition. And we recently met. I'm on the nutrition side of things, so I'm gonna really try to use my culinary knowledge, everything I've learned over the last 30 years, to help Americans eat better, eat healthier, get more fit. And yeah, it's a very, again, I'm super proud of that distinction and to be able to serve.
Coming up, to Chef Garces, using your voice for good, it matters, but only if there's also action behind it.
But the do part is really what counts from my side. So, kind of proof's in the pudding, like, hey, behind those words, what are you doing about it? Your chef in residency program. I now have met a couple of the chefs who have worked with you. It's in that same vein of mentoring and what have you. Actually, I've become cool with some of the chefs. Kiki Arenito was one, and several others. Tell us about that program and why that matters. This was like kind of like getting out of COVID and really knowing that chefs, up-and-coming chefs and talent maybe had a tough time during COVID, so we wanted to shine a spotlight on those folks. And for me, to be able to mentor them and at least, shine a spotlight on them and give them, kind of that next boost to like whatever their aspirations are at that point has been great. And it's kind of where I'm at, Bill. It's like, I think that I can give a lot back and really help. And so, that feels good. Use your voice for good. When you hear that concept, and I feel like you've explained it a couple different times. Yeah. But when you hear that concept, what does use your voice for good mean for you? So when I think about use your voice for good, I feel like it's twofold, right? It's using your words wisely and correctly to motivate and do, but the do part is really what counts from my side. So, kind of proofs in the pudding, like, hey, behind those words, what are you doing about it? Guys, thank you so much for watching The Pulse. This was fun for me because
real talk, I can't really cook. And so I'm very impressed by the people who can, and to see what Chef Garces has done with just a passion and what he defined as a trade and grow really into an empire. Pretty cool. As always, you can reach out to me on social media. I love to hear from you, and I leave you today as I always do, reminding you that whenever you can, use your voice for good and have a good one.